I'm Marcus, 34, data security consultant. The kind of guy whose life revolves around patterns, systems, and things that make logical sense. My wife, Rachel, always said I was the steady one. Predictable, dependable, boring, if you ask her friends. We met in college. She was bold, funny, spontaneous. I was the opposite, and maybe that's why we worked. She used to say I was her anchor. I thought she meant it. We've been married almost 7 years. No kids. We were still figuring it out, she'd say. Rachel worked in HR for a private tech firm. Long hours, frequent conferences, lots of team-building trips. Last week, she left for one of those trips, 3 days in Las Vegas. Some corporate leadership workshop. She packed a black suitcase, kissed me on the cheek like she always did, and said, "Don't wait up for me. I might be out late." I didn't think twice about it. Until Tuesday morning at 2:13 a.m. My phone lit up. A text from Rachel. "Married William tonight. You're pathetic. Enjoy your sad little life." Attached was a photo. Her, in a white cocktail dress, holding a marriage certificate, standing next to William, her coworker. I'd met him once. Tall, slimy grin, handshake like a dead fish. I sat up in bed. For a moment, I thought it was a prank. Some stupid inside joke I didn't get. I stared at the screen again. Her words burned. "Your limp energy made this easy." I didn't respond with rage. I didn't scream or cry. I typed one word. Cool. Then I got to work. Rachel wasn't just careless emotionally. She was careless with logistics. Every major asset in my name. The house, the car, the bank accounts, even her phone plan. By 3 a.m., I'd revoked her access to every joint financial tool. Credit cards canceled. Online banking, passwords changed. Security alerts enabled. I called the locksmith. By 5:30 a.m., new locks. I took screenshots of everything. Texts, account closures, timestamp logs. If this was a war, I wasn't going to lose it in court. By 8 a.m., I was showered, dressed, and sipping coffee when the knock came. Police. 2 officers. One older, one fresh-faced. "Your wife says you locked her out. She's reporting a domestic issue." I showed them the text, the photo, the timestamp. "She married someone else 5 hours ago," I said calmly. "That's not my wife anymore." The older cop's eyebrow twitched. The younger one chuckled, but tried to hide it. I showed them documents, deeds, loan papers, everything in my name. "She's not legally entitled to enter this house," I added. They told me to pack her things and leave them in the garage. That afternoon, she arrived. Rachel, William, her mother Denise, and her sister Mel. Rachel had sunglasses over her eyes, but I could see the puffiness. William didn't even look up from his phone. Her mother screamed the moment I opened the garage. "You're throwing her out? Like garbage." "No," I said. "Garbage usually belongs to the person who owns the bin. This isn't her house." Mel hissed. "You're bitter and pathetic." I stayed silent. I had packed Rachel's things with precision. Boxed, labeled, even bubble-wrapped the fragile stuff. She looked at me with disbelief. "You're really doing this?" "You already did," I said. "I'm just following through." She reached for her phone, probably to post something dramatic. But when she pulled out her card to rent a U-Haul, declined. She tried another. Declined. Rachel looked at William. He stared at her. "Do you have any cash?" She turned to me. "You locked me out of my life. You handed it over in Vegas." But that wasn't the end. It never is. Because the next morning, I found something worse. In my email inbox, forwarded from mutual friend, a screenshot from Facebook. Rachel, in a private message to her cousin. "I've been planning this for months. He's so easy to fool. I'm going to take him for everything." I stared at the screenshot in silence. It wasn't just a moment of betrayal anymore. It was a plan. A long, deliberate scheme carried out right under my nose. Rachel had sent the message to her cousin Melissa over 2 months ago. "I'm just waiting for his next bonus check to hit. Once I get that, I'm gone. Vegas, baby." William already looked up chapels. Melissa had forwarded the message with a short note. "I'm sorry. I didn't know it would get this ugly." That made me laugh. Not a real laugh. One of those dry, bitter ones that dies in your throat. I didn't reply. I just saved the message. Another piece of evidence. Another domino falling. I texted my lawyer, Matt, and set up an emergency consultation. Matt's the kind of guy who plays chess in his head while you're still figuring out what color you're playing. When I showed him the text, he leaned back and smirked. She committed bigamy, Marcus. Married someone while still being your legal wife. And thanks to her messages, there's intent. This isn't a messy divorce. It's an open and shut courtroom gift. I nodded. I was grateful, but I wasn't relieved, because something inside me had cracked. You don't just get over something like this. It messes with your sense of reality. You start doubting every memory, every kiss, every I love you. Had Rachel ever meant any of it? Later that day, I got another text from her mom, Denise. You heartless monster. You destroyed my daughter's future. You always controlled her, suffocated her. She finally found happiness, and you stomped on it. I didn't respond, but I sent the screenshot to Matt. I was building a quiet archive. Rachel's words, her family's attacks, the paper trail of her betrayal. Not out of spite, but to protect myself. She had already shown she was willing to rewrite the narrative. I wasn't about to be cast as the villain in a story she authored. That night, I got a call from Jordan, my buddy from college. He worked in cybersecurity and owed me a favor. Hey man, I heard what happened. I'm digging in her old iCloud backups. Nothing illegal, just things still synced to your shared devices. Found a few things you'll want to see. I logged in and my chest tightened. There were voice memos, dozens of them. Rachel talking to herself. Some are random thoughts. Others were diary-style rants. But one chilled me. He's just dull. Every day with Marcus is the same. I feel like I'm suffocating. William makes me feel alive. Maybe I don't love him. Not really, but he's exciting. I'll marry him in Vegas. Use that to blow up everything. And when Marcus finally breaks, maybe I'll finally feel something again. She knew what she was doing. She wanted destruction, just to see what would rise from the ashes. I forwarded the memo to Matt. He responded with a thumbs up and a message. This is gold. The next morning, Rachel showed up at my office. Not a call, not a warning. She just walked in like it was still her right. Can we talk? She asked, her voice softer than I'd heard in weeks. I looked around. My assistant glanced nervously from behind her desk. I waved her off. We stepped into the conference room. She sat across from me. Same face. Same hands that used to hold mine. But I didn't recognize her anymore. I was drunk, she said. Vegas was stupid. William pressured me. It's not real. We didn't even file anything. Can we just go back? I didn't say a word. She reached across the table, touched my hand. I miss you, she whispered. I made a mistake. I thought you didn't care. I thought I wanted something more. I pulled my hand away. You don't get to walk out of my life and expect the door to stay open. She blinked. Her lips trembled. But you love me. I did, I said quietly. But I love someone who didn't exist. She opened her mouth to speak. But before she could say anything, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Jordan. Dude, you need to see this. Check your email now. I looked at Rachel. Meeting's over. I left her sitting there and walked out. In my inbox, a zip file. Inside, photos. Dozens. Rachel and William. Together. Not just Vegas. Beach trips. Hotel lobbies. Holding hands in public months ago. One image had a timestamp for my birthday. While she told me she was at her sister's place. And that wasn't the worst of it. There was a video file. Rachel, drunk, laughing, saying into the camera, he thinks I'm in love with him. He has no clue I've been sleeping with William since last year. I can't wait to see his face when I marry someone else. It'll destroy him. I want to see what happens when he finally snaps. I must have replayed that video 20 times. Each time, something inside me got quieter. Not angrier, just more hollow. I remember the night it was filmed. I had ordered Thai food and waited for her to come home. Le comble. Set the table. A small birthday surprise. She texted at the last minute saying her sister needed her. Family emergency. I ate alone. She was in a hotel with William instead. Laughing, plotting, telling the camera she wanted to see what I'd do when I snapped. Well, here's the thing. I wasn't going to snap. Not the way she wanted. I wasn't going to scream or beg or throw a tantrum that validated her fantasy of control. I was going to dismantle her illusions the same way I built our life. Quietly, methodically, and with zero room for error. The next morning, Matt filed the motion for divorce. We attached the texts, videos, voice recordings. Everything. Bigamy. Intent to defraud. Documentation of premeditated adultery. All on record. Rachel didn't respond immediately, but when she did, she didn't even call me. She called my mom. My mom, crying on the phone, telling her I was ruining her life. My mom called me, confused. Marcus, she's saying she was manipulated, that William threatened her. That you're punishing her because she made a mistake. I sighed. Mom, I'll send you something. Just watch it. Then call me back if you still want to defend her. I sent her the video. 10 minutes later, she called back. Furious. You don't owe her anything. That afternoon, the smear campaign began. Rachel posted on Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, for God's sake. After years of emotional abuse, I finally broke free. What I did wasn't perfect, but I was desperate. I deserve happiness. My ex is now punishing me for seeking love. He's weaponizing his money and access to destroy me. She posted a selfie. Red-rimmed eyes. Caption, be kind. You never know what someone's going through. Her mother Denise and sister Mel shared it with captions like protect women from narcissists and don't let manipulators silence survivors. I didn't respond. Not online. But Jordan did. He created a burner account. Posted screenshots. Voice memos. The Vegas marriage photo. That video clip of Rachel saying she was playing the long game. Her narrative shattered in minutes. People flooded her comment sections. Girl, you literally bragged about this. You did him dirty, and now you're mad you got caught. Weaponizing real abuse stories to cover your own selfishness is disgusting. She started deleting comments. Then her entire account disappeared. A day later, William's face popped up on LinkedIn as looking for new opportunities. Word spread fast. Someone had sent the video and wedding photo to their HR department. Their company had a strict anti-fraternization policy. Zero tolerance. They were both fired. I didn't do it. Not directly. But I didn't stop it either. They built their fantasy on lies. Reality had just moved in. 3 days later, I got another visitor. William's mom, of all people. She knocked on my door wearing a fake smile and holding a container of lemon bars. Can we talk? I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. About what? She sighed. Look, I know things got messy. But Rachel's hurting. William's confused. They're just young people who made a mistake. Maybe you could forgive her. Take her back. Be the bigger man. I laughed. Your son marry my wife. That's not a mistake. That's a betrayal in formal wear. But he didn't mean it. It was just a Vegas thing. He said she tricked him. I shook my head. They tricked each other, and they can live with the consequences. She looked wounded, like I'd kicked her dog. Forgiveness is strength, she said sharply. No, irrobia. Forgiveness is a choice, and I'm choosing peace. I closed the door, and for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. But it wasn't over yet, because that night, I got an alert from my home security app. Motion detected. Front door. I pulled up the feed. There she was. Rachel. Hair messy. Eyes red. Standing in the driveway at midnight, holding something. I tapped audio. Marcus, please. I need to talk. I have nowhere else to go. She stepped closer to the doorbell camera. William left me. He said I ruined his life. I'm not asking to come in. Just let me explain. I watched her. Silent. I could have spoken into the mic. Could have asked why she'd do all this. Why she'd throw away everything we had. But I already knew the answer. She wanted chaos. And I wouldn't give it to her. I turned off the camera feed and went to bed. The next morning, my neighbors were buzzing. Rachel had apparently slept in her car, parked across the street. No one called the police yet, but I knew that wouldn't last. People talk, especially in a quiet neighborhood. I watched from behind the blinds as she drove off, engine sputtering. Part of me wanted to believe she felt genuine remorse. But I remembered her video, her words, I want to see what happens when he snaps. This wasn't regret. It was desperation. She had nothing left to control. By noon, her sister Mel was on Instagram again, this time claiming I had abandoned Rachel and was letting her spiral. I didn't respond. Matt, my lawyer, did. He filed a cease and desist letter for defamation. Delivered it to both Mel and Denise via email and certified mail. Then he called me. She's going to try to stall the divorce, he warned. She'll say she wasn't a sound mind when she got married in Vegas. Might even try to file for annulment on that basis to delay proceedings. I laughed. She said she was planning it for months. We have the video. Exactly, he said, which is why the judge will tear that argument to shreds. Just be ready, there's more spin coming. And he was right, because 3 days later, I got a letter. Rachel was now claiming emotional distress, financial manipulation, and abandonment. She'd filed a request for spousal support and wanted access to the home until legal status could be clarified. Matt sent back a rebuttal that might as well have been a firebomb. We attached everything. Her affair, the wedding photos, the messages, the receipts, the audio, her own mother and sister's posts smearing me online. All of it. That evening, I received a message from an old mutual friend, Emma. Hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I believed her at first, but now I saw what you posted. I can't imagine what you're going through. That was the first domino. The next day, more messages poured in. She told me you were abusive. I didn't know the truth. I thought she was just lost, but she lied to everyone. I feel sick forever defending her. I didn't feel vindicated, just tired. Rachel had manipulated not just me, but everyone around us. Bent reality until people couldn't see which way was up. She thought she could rewrite the truth with enough crocodile tears and Instagram filters. But truth has a way of bleeding through, no matter how many coats of paint you slap on it. And then came the real surprise. I got a call from the HR department of Rachel's old job. Apparently, someone had sent them the video. The one where she admitted to scamming me and bragging about faking things for the big exit. Even though she'd already been terminated for fraternization, they were now pursuing legal action for misusing company resources during work hours to plan her getaway. William, meanwhile, had vanished. Word was he moved out of state after getting dumped by the 22-year-old bartender he met in Vegas. She found out he was married. Go figure. Rachel? She was living with her parents. I know that because her mom drove by my place again, this time to scream from the sidewalk. You ruined her. I stood in the doorway, sipping coffee. Didn't say a word. That night, I got one final text from Rachel. You win. Are you happy now? You destroyed me. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed. I didn't destroy you. I just stopped saving you. And I blocked the number. The divorce hearing was set for the following week. Matt said it would be quick, open and shut. But deep down, I knew Rachel wasn't done. She never goes down quietly. And I was right, because the night before the hearing, she showed up at my door, dressed in white. She stood there in a white dress, not a wedding gown, but close enough to feel like mockery. It was long, silky, with lace along the sleeves. The kind of dress you'd wear if you wanted to trigger a memory. Except I didn't feel anything. Rachel looked tired. Makeup couldn't hide the way her eyes were hollowed out. She held a folder in her hand and a look on her face that I'd seen before, right before she'd talk her way out of things. Please, she said, just 5 minutes. No cameras. No recording. I leaned against the doorframe. Say what you came to say. She stepped forward and handed me the folder. That's everything. The annulment papers with William, the messages between us, even the video. I'm not contesting the divorce anymore. I opened the folder. It was all there. Neatly printed. Signed. Clean. I looked back up at her. Why now? She took a shaky breath. Because I finally realized you meant it. That you weren't playing a game. That this wasn't a phase. That I really lost. I didn't say anything. Rachel wiped her eyes. I was stupid, Marcus. And selfish. And I thought I could control the fallout. I thought if I cried loud enough, people would take my side. But they didn't. You were always the stable one. The quiet one. And it turns out, the truth is quiet too. She looked around the porch like it still belonged to her. I miss it here. The quiet. The safety. You. I swallowed hard. Why are you really here, Rachel? She bit her lip. Because I wanted you to know. I never loved him. Not really. He was just a way out. I nodded slowly. And what was I? She hesitated. The man who built a life I didn't deserve. For a moment, the air between us froze. I wanted to scream. To ask why she did it. Why she needed to blow it all up when she had everything she ever asked for. But I didn't. I'd spent enough time holding questions she never had the courage to answer. You should go, I said softly. Rachel didn't argue. She walked back to her car, drove away without a word. And just like that, she was gone again. The next morning was our divorce hearing. She showed up late. No white dress this time, just a black blazer and a pale, unreadable face. William didn't show. The judge asked her if she had anything to say before finalizing the documents. She looked down, then up at me. I was wrong. I betrayed him. I accept whatever the court decides. The judge nodded. That's rare. And honest. The gavel fell. It was done. She got nothing but her personal belongings and the car, still under loan. No claim to the house. No access to shared assets. No spousal support. The judge awarded me legal costs due to extraordinary and intentional misconduct. Rachel nodded once and walked out of the courtroom. I didn't follow, but as I stepped out of the courthouse, a small woman approached me. She looked to be in her 60s, wearing a tan trench coat and holding a folder of her own. You don't know me, she said. I'm Mary, William's ex-boss. I blinked. Okay, I just wanted to tell you, she said. I was the one who forwarded the video to HR. Not for revenge, but because I'd seen that kind of manipulation before. I watched Rachel twist people around her finger and destroy everything in her orbit. You were the only one who walked away with your soul still intact. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. She placed a card in my hand. If you ever want a job in cybersecurity, call me. We value calm minds and good instincts. She walked away. It hit me right then. All of it. The betrayal. The war. The heartbreak. It was finally over. But something else had begun. That evening, I boxed up the last of Rachel's things from the garage. Dropped them at her parents' house. Her dad answered the door. Silent. Just nodded and took the boxes. I didn't say goodbye. As I drove away, the weight started to lift. But just as I turned the corner back to my street, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You did the right thing. Proud of you. Attached was a photo of Rachel, crying in the driveway, taken by someone else. That photo, Rachel in the driveway, hunched over on the curb, her white dress wrinkled, her face buried in her hands. The timestamp matched the night she showed up at my door. I stared at it, wondering who had taken it and why they'd sent it. But there was no signature, just the message. You did the right thing. Proud of you. For a second, I thought maybe it was someone in the neighborhood, or one of the mutual friends who had quietly shifted back to my side. But the truth was it didn't matter. Whoever sent it didn't need credit. They just wanted me to see the full picture. That I wasn't crazy. That I had survived. And somehow, that hit harder than anything Rachel ever said. Over the next few weeks, things got quiet. Unnaturally quiet. Like the silence after a long storm. The kind where you can still smell the rain, still feel the ache in your bones. Rachel didn't contact me again. Not directly. But Mel posted cryptic quotes online. Forgiveness is a higher path. Letting go doesn't mean condoning. I ignored it all. Denise tried calling my mom again. My mom blocked her. William's mom, Sarah, wrote an angry Facebook post blaming me for ruining her son's future. A few people liked it. Most ignored it. William was reportedly back in Vegas. Alone. Working as a night shift manager at a hotel off the strip. The 22-year-old bartender had dumped him. Rumor had it she found out about Rachel the same night I posted the wedding photo. Poetic, really. Rachel? Last I heard, she was working part-time at a wellness studio her cousin owned, living with her parents. Driving the same car she once mocked me for keeping too long. It didn't bring me joy, but it did bring me closure. I didn't need her to fall apart. I just needed to stop holding her up. Meanwhile, I got the job. Mary, William's old boss, had followed through. She connected me with a firm that handled cybersecurity for major healthcare systems. Big responsibility, bigger pay. For the first time in years, I felt like I was building something for me. Not for us. Not for her. Just me. I moved out of the old house. Too many ghosts. Sold it to a nice couple with a dog and a baby on the way. Bought a loft downtown. Bare walls, big windows, quiet mornings. And somewhere in the middle of all that, I met someone. Her name's Julia. Met her at the gym. She smiled at me once. I smiled back. Weeks passed before either of us said anything. When we finally talked, it wasn't about pain, or exes, or betrayal. It was about music and coffee and how we both secretly liked early morning walks in the rain. It was simple, easy. One day, I told her everything. Not for sympathy, just honesty. She listened, then said something I won't forget. You didn't lose her. She was never really yours. You just took care of someone who never planned to stay. And I realized she was right. Rachel wasn't stolen from me. She was borrowed from my future. A chapter 1 was meant to close. For a long time, I'd wondered if I could have done something different. Been more exciting, less routine, given her more spark. But that's the trap. Trying to rewrite your past for someone who was always planning to leave. Rachel wanted chaos, and I wouldn't become the storm just to keep her attention. I found peace in being still, in starting over, in knowing that I didn't destroy anything. I just finally stopped saving someone who never wanted to be saved. And one day, while packing up some old boxes, I found something at the bottom of a drawer. Our old wedding photo. Rachel in her white dress. Me in a gray suit, smiling like I had the whole world in my arms. I looked at it, then quietly slid it into the shredder. Piece by piece, the past disappeared. Not in anger, not in hate, but in peace, in letting go, in choosing to stop carrying the weight of a life I no longer lived. She thought I'd break when she walked away, but I didn't break. I just rebuilt without her.